What's up, guys? How we doing? So I wasn't gonna do a video today until I found out what happened to Slowey. This is ridiculous. And I have to respond to what Davey Coombs said about, reporting the wrong thing about Hayden Deegan. I'll get into all that. But if you haven't tried Nano-Extreme, you're missing out. If you have aches and pains, I'm telling you, best pain relief of anything I've ever used. Head over to Nano-Extreme, use code COOKSY and get free shipping. Are you struggling with your training? You just need to get a little bit more knowledge and maybe figure this thing out? Click the link, head over to Coach Rob, do a 30-minute consult with him. It'll save you so much time and effort and will get you performing to your very best. So click that link and head over to Coach Rob. AJ writes crypto. He's giving away 4 Teslas. Right now, the deadline, I believe, is August 10th for the second Tesla. And if you don't want a Tesla, they'll give you $42,000. And if you don't win the Tesla, you might win $1,500 in crypto or just some swag. They're giving away a ton of stuff. Head over to AJ Writes Crypto, click the link below, sign up, and win yourself a Tesla or $42,000.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
So the tyrants at MX Sports have banned Slowie. And if you haven't checked out Slowey's channel, I recommend it. It's pretty funny. He's just a dude around with his camera who loves this sport, follows the nationals, shows up, films the pits, and makes his videos. He's a good dude that loves this sport, and they banned him. They said he made defamatory comments about MX Sports, which isn't true. I watch all of his videos. I don't know where they saw that or what they were talking about, but it's not true. It's just a straight up lie. And they're a private business. They're allowed to kick anyone out for any reason. I get that. But this dude's out there promoting the sport. And, he titles, his last title was like Red Bud Gone Wild. But it's not defamatory if he's just filming what's happening and talking about it. He doesn't even share many opinions. He usually just shows raw footage of goofing around and being a motocross guy. You don't have to like his lifestyle. You don't have to like Slowey. But really, these guys are so worried about some guy cruising the country in his van, living the motocross lifestyle and making videos that they've banned him. The problem is Racer X is spinning a narrative and they try to establish what they want you to think. It's not reporting on the races. Steve Mathis, Racer X, Vital MX, they're all spinning specific narratives. Slowey doesn't do that. Slowey doesn't even spin a narrative at all. He just shows you what he sees when he's at the races and he's having a good time. So I guess at the Loretta Lynn's the safety briefing for the media, I was told the MX Sports employee who was conducting the meeting literally said, motocross is under attack. Be careful with the stuff you put out there. Make sure it shows this in a positive light. You're telling the media to spin a story, when in reality, they should just go there, film what happens, and talk about what happens. But now they're trying to recreate and cover up and make things something they're not for the profit of the promotion. And when, they were discussing about motocross being under attack, they pointed at me and they said, I'm a problem. And I might be. Now, I'm a guy that loves dirt bikes more than I probably should. And I have been around this sport my entire life. And I don't like to see families who sacrifice so much for the dream, having that dream exploited. So yeah, I showed how MX Sports and Feld illegally gained the rights to our sport. It was not legal. It was a non-profit organization, the AMA. They sold it off and then converted it to profit. That's not legal. Davey Coombs was in. He was a board member in the AMA just a year or two before the sale took place. You can't tell me he didn't understand what was happening and how he could gain control. He absolutely did. Am I attacking the sport because the sport is at a level that it's making millions and millions of dollars? They're on the verge of a streaming deal that could bring in $200 million a year to the promoters. And they're not giving anything back. They give back less to the participants than even the WNBA. Am I attacking motocross because I call out blatant safety violations or things they won't do? I was watching a Formula One race from, I think it was 1978, and they had flaggers running on the track. It looked dangerous. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see it. But they've upgraded. As the cars have gotten better, they've innovated safety. In our sport, they still have the same techniques they used back then. There's been very few safety innovations. And when somebody gets hurt, they classify it as, oh, it's just a dangerous sport. Well, so's F1. But you do things to bring innovations to promote safety. So if exposing this stuff is attacking motocross, well, yeah, I guess you could say that then. But I'm doing it for the betterment of the sport, I'm doing it for the dream, and I'm doing it for the riders, teams, and believe it or not, I'm doing it for the promoters because I want them to be successful as well. I don't want them to be tyrants that rule over and destroy this sport with their greed. A more accurate statement would be not an attack on motocross. A more accurate statement would be exposing the scumbags exploiting motocrossers, their families, and putting them at undue risk. If you want to accuse me of that, go for it. That's what I'm doing. Speaking of narratives, Davey Coombs came out and tried to manipulate Hayden Deegan into riding a 450 at the final round. He got just enough information from Bobby Regan to be able to run with a story to put pressure on Deegan. And then you ask, why would he want there to be pressure on Deegan to race that final race? Well, Budds Creek is that's not an MX Sports own track like Ironman, but they run it. They have the rights to that race. They got them a while ago because I believe the owner admitted to smoking marijuana. So they manipulated that and said, we're taking your national unless we can run it and take over and essentially just pay them a small fee to rent their track. So when it's at Budds Creek, it's not Jonathan Beasley. They're there, they offer a lot of staff to help, but that is an MX Sports run event, and the Beasley family just gets a kickback, and it's a decent kickback. I think it's a couple $100,000. That's a fraction of what the event brings in. It still really helps that track stay alive, and that's why these tracks can't speak out. So even while they're not getting a fair share, they're getting enough, and they need this. They really, really need this, but it still bothers me that they hold these tracks and riders hostage, as in, without us, what would you do? That's just the mentality they have. So Davey Coombs talked to Bobby Regan, and Regan said that, Deegan's riding a 450, and they were considering putting him on the 450 at the final round. And Bobby Regan gave the A-OK. If he wraps it up, go for it. The Deegans had not decided, but after hearing Bobby Regan say they've been given the green light to do that, maybe ticket sales at that event weren't going well. I don't know the reason, but you want to boost ticket sales, talk about the debut of Hayden Deegan on a 450. It's greed. It's a narrative that he was trying to spin. I don't think he accidentally got this wrong. I think he did this on purpose. It's very, very profitable to him to do that. And Davey Coombs is always pushing this, shucks, I'm just a guy that loves this sport. I do it because I just want this sport to exist, when he's really a greedy, money-hungry tyrant. Davey and his crazy sister figured out they can control motocrossers because we are so in love with our sport and so protective of that sport. You can damn near do anything to us as long as you frame it in, it's good for the sport. It's for the sport. We'll sacrifice anything to make sure our dream and the people behind us can have that dream, and they are using it against us in the worst way. I had to laugh reading Racerhead with Davey Coombs talking about all the different work he's doing, like he's hammering stakes, he's doing this. This is what promoters do when they're first beginning, when every dime matters, just trying to break even. The reason he does it is so people don't ask questions. It's a front, it's a narrative. He wants people around to see him out there hammering stakes, working at the postal section, lifting boxes, to spin the narrative. It's not because they don't have enough money to hire people. But when you complain about Loretta Lynn's prices and your camping fee and your internet fee and all these crazy things that they charge you for, they want you to look at Davey Coombs and say, well, we're just doing what we have to. We're just a few people. And they want to spin that narrative when that is actually not true. And let me remind you, this guy who's, shucks, I just do it for the love of the sport. When I showed that there was a sexual predator, but he was working somewhere in the rentals or something to do with golf carts, but he was a sex offender and a violent one. And he actually relapsed last year, but 2 years ago they had him at the ranch. And when this was brought to Davey's attention, rather than say, holy crap, we need to get something done, what does Little League do? There's these services where you can pay $10 or $15 an employee and they'll do background checks to make sure you don't have a predator at a youth event. But instead of Davey saying, oh yeah, we'll fix the problem, we didn't know, it slid through the cracks, which is understandable. People forgive mistakes. Instead, he defends the name of the family. I guess there's that part of the track, they call it Storyland. The Predator was part of the Story family, so rather than address this Predator he had working at the event, he defends the name of the Story family and talks about what they've done for Loretta's. I'll tell you what, that Predator gets your daughter, I don't care what they did. I don't care what they've done for the sport. This is a guy who threatened Guy Cooper with the power of the pen because he understands the narrative that riders have to have a good reputation to sell their brand and make money. He got into it with Guy Cooper. There was a dispute over promotional stuff, and Guy Cooper was going to do a race that might compete with them, and they pulled him aside and threatened him with the power of the pen. But that's who Davey Coombs is. Don't fall for that aw shucks, because he's definitely, when you talk to him, if you meet him and it's a short meeting and you don't actually get to know him, he seems very genuine. He seems like a really nice guy. He's good at putting up a nice face. But him and his sister are some evil bastards. They're more worried about kicking out Slowey than getting a permanent set of flaggers or keeping sexual predators out of there. Instead, they're sending legal letters to Slowey, who's out in his van, just trying to get his YouTube channel, promote the sport, and show what he sees out there. Oh, and let me add this. That firm that they sent this legal paperwork, it's the same firm that is representing the Lawrence brothers in their suit against Lucas Myrtle. I don't know, guys. A little bit of collusion? You tell me. And the reason they kicked out Slowie was because he shows what actually happens, not what Racer X tells you happens. There's a lot of debauchery. We had that video of Ryan Hughes acting creepy, wasted.
Are you kidding? Wait, are you guys fighting? Are you fighting? I'm not even kidding. Get out of my face.
No, I gave you a push-up.
Let me spill my drink. I'm not down
You said you gave me a push-up. Start with you.
So hard,
Start with you.
Start with you.
I've heard stories, lots of stories of high-ranking people at Loretta Lynn's doing some pretty shady things. But that's who Davey is. Maybe he doesn't want Slowie there. Maybe Slowie will catch him on accident. And Slowie just puts out what he sees. Maybe they're worried about him catching their debauchery. But despite all this and all the ridiculous things, I still love the event Loretta Lynn's. They've done an amazing thing at bringing this and building it up to this thing that we care about so much. And what I love about Loretta Lynn's is I love seeing the families sacrificing, hanging out, spending family time, giving their efforts, chasing the dream. After these families sacrifice everything, chasing this dream, I just want to make sure when they get and turn pro, there is a dream that most people don't understand. You only make money if you get on a factory team. If you could go podium all the Supercrosses, all the Nationals, and SMX, and you're not going to cover your own costs to go racing, it's not a profitable professional sport. I want to make it profitable. I want to make there actual reward for these families who sacrifice everything. You'll see it this week. If you head over to Racer TV, they do a great job covering the event and documenting a lot of these people's stories and struggles, and you really see what people are willing to go through to chase this dream. That's what I'm fighting for. I don't want to see these families exploited, and that's what I'm seeing right now. I see people taking this dream and overcharging for internet, parking, entry fees. I mean, it is ridiculous how much they charge. They're in the profits based on their kickback from all the regionals. So for Davey to be hammering stakes and handing packages like he's just struggling to get by, it's a lie. It's a lie. Don't fall for that. He's very good. He'll probably have a beer and be very charming, and you'll think, oh, that's a nice guy. He's not. His sister, she doesn't look charming. She doesn't sound charming. She's just evil. She looks and acts pretty much on par with what you see in the picture here. I think you should do Slowey a favor, head over to his channel, give him a subscription. He's fighting the same battle I am. And if you told me a while ago, if you told me 10 years ago that the promotion would do this to people just with YouTube channels like myself and Slowey, I'd have been like, nah, that's crazy. No big promotion would care too much about just a YouTube channel with some people talking. They do. They sent the FBI to my house. I've got multiple legal letters. I got a cease and desist. By the way, everything on that cease and desist, I can prove in a court of law. Yet there was no lawsuit because they know this and they're just trying to legally bully me. But I don't really care. I'm not going away. I'm going to keep talking about this. And the more they harass guys like me and Slowey, the louder I will get. I'm not going away. If you guys need to ship anything, don't ship it through Davey. Head over to Precision Transport. That's pretransport.com. It's a shipping company that's family owned, reasonably priced. They are actually good people. So head over to pretransport.com. And if you want some motocross gear that's not going to make you look like a poser, get Alias MX. This is a historic brand that has been part of the Geico Honda team in their early days. Eli Tomac wore Alias. This is a high quality gear company. The 25.5 gear is out. It's selling fast. So if you want to get it, you're going to have to move quickly. AliasMX.com. I'll be covering Loretta Lynn's this whole week. Every day I'll be doing wrap-ups. I still got to talk about MXGP. Man, Kaida Wolf, but he made some crazy moves in the qualifying race. Had me going, what are you doing? But he had good reasons. But I'll talk about all that in the MXGP video that I'll do tomorrow. Thank you, members. One of you guys is going to win some Nano Xtreme this month. All you members are entered to win the new Power Sports XQi3 electric motorcycle in December. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Here's your member of the day.
Let's start this off by saying, we got them. The illegal sale of American motorcycle racing. I present a case that reveals how the American Motorcyclist Association's 2008 sale of its racing properties constituted an illegal transfer of public trust into private hands. My name's B Mazy, and I'm here to stir shit up. So I made a song for you guys. You know, it's crazy that the riders still gotta pay to race. Even though these guys are just filling their pockets because they're money-hungry, greedy, stupid mother, ex-circus owners, but still got the same mindset for the Supercross. Screw Feld, screw the AMA, and screw Rob Dingman.